Hello everyone and welcome to Sunburned. Albino lists his top 5 games of 2023 so far, in no order. We're a third of the way through June, which means the year's about half over, so how are you feeling about the quality of games we've already gotten? Because personally, I think 2022 might get smoked by the end of it. There's already been at least half a dozen heavy hitters, in my estimation, bangers that, if nominated for Game of the Year, I wouldn't argue with it, and there's still half a year to go. This rack of meat is already so juicy that I can't wait till December to dig in. I'm chowing down now. So presented in no order and subject to change, here's what I think are the 5 best games of 2023 as of early June. Number 1, which isn't necessarily number 1, Diablo 4. Diablo 4 is massive compared to 3 and really feels like a souped up online place to be. Like you get on there, see other people roaming around, tackling events and slaying mobs, and you feel like you're participating in a real experience. The new progression system, which as a Fire Emblem fan gave me a boner as soon as I saw the word renown, gives permanent rewards for completing certain amounts of side quests and exploration that can be shared across all characters, like extra skill points, and it makes every little thing feel worth doing for the long haul. I played Diablo 3 for months and revisited it every so often over the years, and I can see this doing the same thing. People ask why I don't stream it, and the answer is Diablo isn't the type of game for me where I'm like energetic and ready to talk about stuff. I feel like Diablo is a game you play slack-jawed for 9 hours at a time because you're in this out-of-body grinding experience. This game will just stick its hooks directly into your important brain cells and turn you into a barely conscious zombie, and not many games are that invasively and debilitatingly enthralling, so it's a banger. Number 2, which isn't necessarily number 2, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. This must be the 4th time I've had to try to script some unique thoughts about this game in the past 2 weeks given my previous video topics, but I'm tired of nuance. Most people don't have a nuanced opinion of this game. They're just like, game good, me like, fused fire hydrant onto shield, watered lava to make platforms, 10 out of 10. And that is totally fine, because even though I think this game comes with too much deja vu, it's out here captivating people anyway, and when I play it, I get it. Sometimes I can turn my brain off and stop caring that I'm recharting the same map I already charted, regaining the same hearts and stamina wheels I already gained, and revisiting the same villages I already visited, because the tools are better, the freedom is wider, and I like it when the guy won't let go of the sign until I build a fortress around it and he pays me in spicy sushi. Tears of the Kingdom's main issue is that it's a major time sink, and there are a lot of major time sinks out there right now, some of which are on this list, so it's hard to dedicate the necessary time to those games unless you're all in right from the start and willing to sideline everything else. On a different note, Breath of the Wild 2 deserves to be on PC, as does every other Nintendo game released in the last, 10 years, so all us Nintendo fans out here can see what some of our favorite games could have looked like and run like if Nintendo was ever on the cutting edge of anything. Never forget Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. I don't care how low your self-esteem is, you didn't deserve that. And Tears of the Kingdom manages to still look pretty decent, thanks to the art direction doing most of the heavy lifting, but it could only improve on better hardware. Unless the port was garbage, which is common now. PC definitely has its own problems, but imagine. Regardless, especially for a Switch title, Tears of the Kingdom is a banger. Number 3, Street Fighter 6. As someone whose SF experience has only ever consisted of the free version of Street Fighter 5, I did not like this franchise. Street Fighter 5 is gross, the characters were gross, the action looked gross, everything about it was a major turnoff. But from the first trailer for Street Fighter 6, I saw a complete turnaround. It looked good, really good. Fast forward to a couple days after its launch, and I'm out here having a jolly good time. I mainly play Smash, and I did a decent amount of Mortal Kombat X and Injustice back in the day, so some of the systems have been an adjustment, and I'm definitely not good yet. But I feel the drive to become good. It instills that motivation within me because of how well it presents itself. I'm not a vibe guy, but the vibes of this game are electric. You just feel cool playing it, and with the World Tour mode and how fleshed out the whole package is, it's the first fighting game since Smash Ultimate, and maybe the only other fighting game I've ever played that's felt worth a full $60 price tag because of the content. Going up to random people on the street and beating the shit out of them is just straight up fun. I'll perform a surprise uppercut on a 15-year-old schoolgirl, and she turns around and starts throwing knives at me, like, are you in home ec? Because I know you can't bring those to school. Or I'll roll up on a chick who looks like Meg from Family Guy if she was a 1,000-pound sister and watch her tackle me to the ground like it's part of her daily routine, and it's just a crazy thing to bear witness to. Don't worry, I also like attacking men, particularly if they have cardboard boxes on their head and are fighting alongside hostile Roombas. I almost didn't buy this with everything else going on in the gaming sphere, but it's clear I would have severely missed out because this game is a banger. Number 4, Resident Evil 4 Remake. I never played the original, but this game is everything I wanted it to be. Resident Evil is a killer franchise, and I think it's great that all the early entries are getting the remake treatment and brought to this newer generation so people like me can experience enhanced versions of what made the series so revered, elevating it to new heights. My only complaint is that it's harder and more annoying to unlock infinite ammo as a cheat in this game because Village was so streamlined with its challenges and making all the unlocks feel accomplishable. I love the idea of Resident Evil being a series you can take seriously the first time around and then go buck wild on subsequent playthroughs with unlimited rocket launchers and turn it into a non-stop blast of wacky fun. It makes multiple playthroughs a joy to complete, and I wish other single-player games dipped their toes back into the now old-school era of cheats. Resident Evil 4 knows how to inject a good game with some arcadey elements purely in the name of fun. It doesn't take itself too seriously and say no to ideas that would make it more enjoyable at the cost of immersion. It doesn't prioritize realism over entertainment. It remembers that it's a game and that its primary goal is to be fun to play, and that makes it a banger. Number 5, Honkai Star Rail. Boy, am I gonna have fun trying to justify this one. I am a resident gacha hater. I absolutely despise how gacha games have warped the concept of good value and tricked people into thinking it's worth 200 gambling bucks to not even guarantee a single character in a single game, or to give them a weapon that mildly boosts their capabilities, when you could have bought Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, and Diablo 4 instead with enough left over for a delicious pizza. It's preposterous, toxic, and some of the decisions are downright predatory. I went through this whole song and dance with Genshin Impact back in the day, a game I had to quit because I had to snap out of the expensive FOMO it induced. They introduced these monthly banners with limited time characters you'll miss out on if you don't luck out on them, and it's designed to make people cough up the cash because even if you grind on a daily basis in a free-to-play fashion, odds are you're not getting enough chances to successfully pull your character when the time comes. The only advantage Honkai Star Rail has over Genshin Impact is that it's a much better game. The Persona-style combat is delightful, and I prefer these more contained areas over the open-world Breath of the Wild clone that Genshin was, while otherwise having virtually identical systems to Genshin in terms of grinding and character progression. I personally think this is just a better foundational shell for these kind of mechanics to exist in, so I'm more invested in Honkai Star Rail than I ever was with Genshin in terms of narrative and gameplay. The goal is still to be as free-to-play as possible and say no to things that are blatantly not worth paying for, but as far as being a game goes, Honkai Star Rail is a banger. Well, that's going to do it for this list. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you can like, share, and subscribe. Watch all my other videos and spend $100 on my character banner, and I'll see you guys next time.